One road, 11 yards wide. 35,000 paratroopers bet their lives on it. Every tank, every truck, every reinforcement had to pass through a single choke point. And the Germans knew it. In September 1944, the Allies planned their boldest gamble of the war, Operation Market Garden. The idea: drop 3 airborne divisions to seize bridges, then punch armor straight up to Germany. Market was the airborne drop. Garden was the ground column that had to reach them in time. That ground column had only one route north, a raised 2-lane road through flooded polder country. Soldiers would later call it Hell's Highway, a name earned in the worst way. The road's shoulders were soft, waterlogged ground. One vehicle off the pavement, and the whole column stopped. British engineers measured the effective width at barely wide enough for a single tank to pass. That meant XXX Corps' entire armored advance moved at the pace of its slowest single file. Planners knew the risk, but they gambled that speed and surprise would outweigh the road's flaws. On September 17th, over 1,000 transport planes and gliders carried paratroopers toward 3 key bridges. Meanwhile, XXX Corps' tanks rolled onto Hell's Highway, expecting to reach Arnhem within 48 hours. Within hours, German anti-tank guns hidden in the tree line opened fire on the exposed column. A single disabled tank blocked the entire road. There was no shoulder to drive around it. Engineers had to physically push wrecked vehicles into the drainage ditches just to keep the column moving. Each ambush cost not minutes, but hours. Hours the airborne troops at Arnhem did not have. At Arnhem, British paratroopers held a bridge alone, believing relief was only a day away. But the road behind them kept collapsing into brief traffic jams under fire, mile after mile. Some units advanced barely a few miles a day, on a road meant to carry an entire corps. Meanwhile, German units cut the road behind the column, severing supply again and again. Fuel, ammunition, and medical supplies all funneled through the same 11 yards of asphalt. By the 4th day, the gap between the column and Arnhem had barely closed at all. The single road that was supposed to win the war fastest had instead become its slowest failure. At Nijmegen, another critical bridge remained in German hands, blocking the column entirely. American paratroopers had to cross the river itself, paddling flimsy canvas boats under machine gun fire. They seized the bridge, but the delay had already cost the column nearly a full day. One day on this road was not a delay. It was the entire margin the plan allowed. Meanwhile at Arnhem, British paratroopers were fighting a battle the plan never expected them to fight alone. Intelligence had missed 2 SS Panzer divisions refitting near Arnhem, a fatal gap in the plan. Those Panzer units struck the lightly armed paratroopers long before relief could possibly arrive. Radios failed across the British division, cutting commanders off from their own scattered units. Wrong radio frequencies had been issued before the drop, a planning error with lasting consequences. Without communication, units at Arnhem could not coordinate, and isolated pockets fought their own separate battles. Back on Hell's Highway, weather turned against the Allies, grounding the resupply planes they depended on. Fog and low cloud kept follow-on airborne drops delayed for critical, irreplaceable hours. Without those reinforcements, the men holding Arnhem Bridge grew thinner with every passing hour. On the highway, German counterattacks kept cutting the road, sometimes for an entire day at a time. Each time the road closed, tanks near Arnhem simply ran out of fuel and ammunition to advance. The corridor was so narrow that a single artillery strike could sever the entire Allied supply line. Polish paratroopers dropped later to reinforce Arnhem, landing into a battle already turning against them. Poor weather and shifted drop zones meant they landed scattered, far from the men they came to save. By day 8, the men at Arnhem Bridge had been overwhelmed, their position finally lost. XXX Corps' tanks were still miles short, still fighting their way up the same single road. Of roughly 10,000 British and Polish troops who fought at Arnhem, only a few thousand withdrew. The bridge that survivors had held for 9 days fell back into German hands. Market Garden's final objective was never secured, and the front line simply stopped short of Germany. Historians would later trace much of that failure back to 11 yards of narrow, exposed asphalt. Market Garden proves that even the boldest plan can fail if it depends on a single fragile artery. Subscribe to Colonel Mittens for more true stories of how wars were really won and lost.